Every single morning, millions of us wake up to the jarring sound of an alarm. We stretch, shower, maybe scroll through our phones for a few minutes, and then we rush off to work. The day fills up so fast. Deadlines, meetings, a never-ending flood of emails. And somewhere in the middle of all that chaos, a quiet little voice in the back of our minds might ask, what is all of this really for? We spend our lives building careers, selling products, achieving goals, but we often forget to ask ourselves the most important question: why? I'm not talking about the shallow why that looks good on a resume. I mean the deeper one, the kind of why that can turn the most ordinary, mundane day into something sacred and meaningful. Let me tell you a story about a man named Arun. Arun's life is probably familiar to many of us. Every day he drives the same road to the same office to do the same work. He's good at his job, even respected by his colleagues. But every single night, when the noise of the day fades away, he feels this ache inside, a sense of emptiness he can't quite name. One evening on his drive home, he decides to stop at a small roadside tea stall. The old man behind the counter greets him with a warm smile, serves him a cup of chai, and starts to hum a gentle, timeless tune. Arun watches him, fascinated. He sees the old man pour tea for complete strangers with such quiet grace and contentment. And a question pops into Arun's head. Why does this man who earns next to nothing look more at peace than I have ever felt in my entire life? We are all taught to chase success. Society drills it into us from day one. But somewhere along the way, we start to confuse success with purpose. They are not the same thing. Professor Ranjay Gulati calls this the search for deep purpose. This isn't a purpose that ends when you get a promotion or hit a sales target. It's a purpose that begins when your actions align with your inner values. It's not about what you do, but why you do it. And most importantly, who you become in the process of doing it. When your work is just a means to survive, just a way to pay the bills, it will drain you. It will leave you feeling exhausted and empty. But when it becomes a way to serve something larger than yourself, it revives you. It fills you with a sense of energy and life. The great psychologist Viktor Frankl, who survived the horrors of the concentration camps, once wrote, "Those who have a why to live can bear almost any how." Frankl emerged from one of history's darkest chapters, not with despair, but with a profound clarity. He realized that meaning isn't something you just find lying around like a lost key. It's something you actively create. You make it. He discovered that even in the midst of unimaginable suffering, there can be purpose. Even in the most monotonous, repetitive tasks, there can be depth. We often think that purpose is supposed to arrive in a flash of lightning, a grand revelation, a divine calling from above. But more often than not, it's just a whisper. It's a slow, quiet unfolding that happens through the things you give yourself to, day in and day out. In the ancient text, the Bhagavad Gita, this idea is called Dharma. It's often translated as sacred duty. But Dharma doesn't mean you have some grand, epic destiny to fulfill. It simply means doing the work that aligns your soul with service. Think about the warrior Arjuna, standing on the battlefield, paralyzed with doubt. He wasn't afraid of losing the battle. He was afraid because he doubted his role in it all. He had lost his why, and his guide, Krishna, reminded him of a powerful truth. To act without attachment to the outcome, that is Dharma. We are not defined by what we get from our work. We are defined by what we give through it. The very next morning, Arun wakes up early. He drives the same road to the same office, but today, something inside him feels different. He's no longer asking, "What do I have to do today?" Instead, he's asking, "Who do I want to be while I'm doing it?" At the office, his entire approach changes. He takes a moment to really listen to a colleague. He helps a new employee who's struggling with a project. He even shares a genuine smile with the janitor he usually walks past without a second thought. And for the first time in years, his day feels light. The work itself hasn't changed at all, but the meaning behind it has been completely transformed. You see, Purpose isn't found in the task itself. It's found in the intention you bring to it. Your work becomes a form of worship when your ego steps aside. The good news is, you don't need to quit your job and find a new one to discover your purpose. You just need a new perspective. Whatever your role is, a teacher, a nurse, a mechanic, an artist, a creator, ask yourself this simple question. Not, what am I getting from this? But, what am I giving through this? Purpose doesn't always require a fiery passion. Sometimes all it requires is your presence. When you give yourself fully and completely to the task that's right in front of you, your work becomes sacred, even if no one else sees it. There's a beautiful Sanskrit word, seva, which means selfless service. It's the quiet art of doing something not for a reward, not for recognition, but simply because it feels right. It's about contributing to the world in your own small way. Viktor Frankl said that purpose is the path to transcendence. Ranjay Gulati calls it our deep purpose. The Bhagavad Gita calls it Dharma. They are all different words pointing to the same fundamental truth. Your work is not just what you do to make a living. It's what you do to stay truly alive on the inside. If this reflection found you at the right time, maybe share it with someone who needs to hear it. Not as a piece of advice, but just as a gentle reminder. You don't have to change your entire life to find meaning. You just need to change how you show up to it. Because when your work is done with presence and purpose, it stops being work. It becomes a form of prayer. Thank you so much for watching. If this resonated with you, please consider subscribing for more reflections like this.